Hey everyone, my name is Gomi. You can read my self-introduction in the description. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different than most of the content out there, which is focused on hard carrying your games. In my opinion, you can't and aren't going to be in a position to carry every single game. It's just as important to be able to play well when you don't have the resources. I got dumpstered in this game, and I want to run you through my mindset and everything I'm thinking about when I play a game where it's not my job to carry. So first up, starting off this game, I'm just scouting out normally, as you'd expect to. I know Gangplank ran Ignite, which is pretty important actually, while Echo ran Teleport. So I'm scouting out to make sure that I'm going up against Gangplank to begin with, just so I don't get a surprise curveball thrown my way. I walk into this tri-bush to make sure Gangplank doesn't walk in and try to cheese me. And since I know that he did take Ignite instead of Teleport, he's going to have some more kill pressure than what I'm normally used to. I'm going to start normally, just leashing for my jungler here. So when I'm leashing as Aatrox, I'm thinking about the most optimal way. That's to use my passive first, then use my Q to reset the cooldown on my passive. And so here, I managed to give him 2 passive empowered auto attacks. I also noticed that Gangplank showed up in lane, so I don't have to worry about getting cheesed in the tri-bush. He does ward though. So what I'm thinking about here is I would need to avoid getting poked. He actually started barrels instead of his Q, which I'm used to, and I'm kind of griefing here. I take a bunch of damage. And here I flash out. I delayed my flash a little bit. I knew that he had enough damage to kill me, but I want to make him reach a little bit further and try to flash so I can at least make him flash with me, as opposed to just flashing away and him having a flash advantage over me. I got a little bit lucky, but honestly, I shouldn't have been in this position to begin with. That was just pretty bad level 1 play by me altogether. I need to be really careful here, and the reason I'm trying to play really passively and not take damage is that if I take too much damage here, I'm going to get dove by their Jarvan jungle. And so I'm doing my best to avoid taking any unnecessary damage. I know that this wave is pushing in. I try to contest the barrel, thinking that I could win, but that's another mistake here. Luckily though, I started Doran's shield, and I also ran the second wind mastery here. So here as Gangplank is diving me, I like the way I play this a lot. I'm trying to deal as much damage as I can and use all my abilities before the dive starts. With most champions, you wouldn't want to do this, but with Aatrox specifically, this is okay because Aatrox's E heals him for any damage he does to champions. And so if I'm able to do damage before the dive, I'll be a little bit healthier when he does decide to commit to it. So here, I'm assuming I'm going to get dove again. So if you notice here, I knew that I was going to get dove likely. I made him walk up into that crevice above the top turret before letting him all in me and before throwing my W out, because you're going to take a lot of turret shots while you're there. That's like a pretty difficult spot to get out of, and it's really close to the turret. So if I know that I'm going to get dove, I want him to start the dive there so that he has to commit and at least go 1-for-1 with me. This is overall actually really worth it for Gangplank, but I'm okay with it as well because I was playing really poorly to begin the game. And so I'll take this going a little bit behind, and I teleport it back into my lane. And notice how, even though I know Gangplank was dead, I'm actually slow pushing the wave here. That's because Aatrox's wave clear is pretty bad, especially early on after all his nerfs. And so I would actually deny him more minions by slow pushing the wave, letting the minions slowly kill them, instead of trying to fast push it. And here I'm getting ganked by Jarvan. And I W the Jarvan, and I E out after. So I think that was probably the best way to play it, because I want to use my E to either try to dodge Jarvan's combo or to just like create more space between us. Luckily my W pulled him out of his combo and I E out. I know that Sylas was nearby and he could have tried to help me push the wave, but I felt like even if he does that, we wouldn't be able to completely push it in anyway, and I'm okay with Sylas just farming my wave for me. Also, I feel like if we had tried to push together, they could still just try to all-in me, since I didn't have flash, and I'm assuming Jarvan probably still had it because I never saw him use it. My wave is pushing in, and that's okay. I'm just trying to completely push the wave in to break the freeze. I notice that Silas is nearby and wants to gank. This is a little bit deep for my taste, but luckily we don't die, and our bot lane is doing pretty well here. So here, just as normal, I'm trying to poke Gangplank under his turret when he goes to the farm. There's no reason not to if I have some sort of ranged ability like Aatrox's Q. And I already know by this point I'm pretty far behind. I don't even have to look at his creep score right now to know. I only have 17 CS, and I got kind of knocked out of lane really early, especially after that really early gank. Gangplank lands is slow on me, hits 6, uses ultimate, so I'm going to use the alcove to try to juke him out. And the biggest reason why I'm able to do this actually is because of my first items that I bought. If you notice that I actually bought boots, a cloth armor, and a refillable potion. And this is really important because when you buy boots, it gives you that ability to be faster than your opponent. And when you're losing to them especially, this is huge because if they can't catch you, they can't kill you. And I also recognize that I would probably want Ninja Tappy in this matchup anyway, because not only is Gangplank a physical damage champion, so is Jarvan the jungler. So I get a lot of value, especially if I know that I might get pressured a lot, which I do expect because I'm losing pretty hard. So there's just a lot of value rushing Ninja Tappy. So here, once again, I'm afraid of the potential dive Gangplank has, so I'm trying to deal damage to him before the dive happens and heal back up. I got him to flash and ignite. And even though he is like pretty low, I recognize that at the time I wasn't 6 and chasing him would not be in my best interest. So I just chill out and I farm out of my turret, try to catch back up slowly. I'm pretty happy with this exchange because, you know, I got his flash and his ignite and I survived. I'm happy to just farm up and get some farm here. My job isn't to win my lane, especially because my bot lane's already winning. So here, since I know that Gangplank did probably have to recall somewhere in my jungle, I'm okay fast pushing this wave because I don't think he'll make it back in time to catch the whole wave if I fast push it. So I can at least deny him some minions here. It is a cannon wave though, so he does get the majority of it. I back, I finish Ninja Tabby, and I buy Ruby Crystal. This Ruby Crystal is going to be going into Kindle Gem. I usually like to rush CDR on Aatrox in general. And it looks like I'm going to have to rush Black Cleaver since I'm not having the best time during the lane phase. The rest of my team is doing super well though. So I just need to focus on cutting the bleeding. In this case, what I'm thinking in my head is that's pretty difficult from Gangplank's side of the matchup now, because even though he's like crushing me, he's under a lot of pressure to be the one to carry the game, since he's pretty much the only one that's winning. All I need to do is let my team carry me and not int here. So I'm going to play extremely conservatively and try to avoid giving Jarvan opportunities to make plays onto me. So here I also think to myself that I might get ganked, so I'm just continuing to slow push. And yeah, I see Jarvan finish the Rift Herald here. So I know that since I could potentially get ganked, I just need to hold onto the top side of my lane. And if Jarvan does come through, I can just use my ult and try to jump out or run away and then jump out with my E if necessary. That's why I'm not too afraid, because I know that even if I get ganked, I can survive it using my ultimate. And once he hits me with that Q, I recognize that he has an Executioner's Calling, which is pretty annoying for me. Since I pushed in that wave and I don't know, well, I didn't know until now where Jarvan was, I was too afraid to try to push in the wave by myself. So instead I decided to roam mid here. This works out pretty well, and we pick up a free kill on Jarvan. And I drop my pink in the river. Since I am getting destroyed in lane, and Gangplank will have lane priority all the time pretty much, since I won't be able to contest it, dropping a pink ward near me isn't that good because he can just push me in and clear that pink ward. So this is why, one of the reasons why I think it was a lot better to just put my pink ward in the river to help out my mid laner. I missed my W there, which really sucks. The cooldown's super long. If I'm not even going to get the farm, it's really bad. A lot of the time, especially when you have these longer cooldowns, it's better to just hold on to them so that you can at least like have pressure. Like right now, since I don't have W, Gameplank has so much pressure on me, and I can't like even try contesting trades. So all I can do is sit back and try to farm with my Q. There's not much I can do here, especially because Gameplank has red buff. And I'm also trying to avoid last hitting with auto attacks because I'm going to take a lot of damage if I do that. Taking damage here is super risky because if I take any damage, I open up a gank for Jarvan, and he wants to make a play onto me because I'm the most likely play to succeed for him since the rest of his team is pretty much dropping the ball. I'm doing my best to push in the wave as well as I can. But again, I'm really scared of Jarvan here. I do have flash, I do have my ultimate. I'm doing my best to just get farm as safely as I can. Yeah, I feel a little bit too pressured here. So I decided that I pushed it in as much as I could. And I just take my reset. And simultaneously, I'm just looking for a TP play if that opportunity arises. I was pretty lucky that this wave was a cannon wave because it's going to take Gameplank a little bit longer. I'm down 30 CS, but it's better than feeding a bunch of kills and potentially dying to jungle ganks. Gameplank's pushing the wave. I see Jarvan below me, and he misses his combo. And he overcommits here, which is really bad. Wastes his flash. And honestly, he's just kind of griefing here, but it's somewhat understandable because he feels pressured to make a play. He probably shouldn't have done that. They probably could have tried to zone me from the turret, but if they had done that, I would have just let them zone me, and I would have just went for, or just allowed them to zone me from the turret, let my team carry. I managed to break his barrel for once, and here I'm looking for a trade. It's a pretty good trade for me. And I feel like I can win this, but I'm pretty bad, and I missed pretty much everything. And so I got outplayed. I mean, he also dodged it by sidestepping a lot of stuff, which is really good by him. I pretty much could have won that fight since he let me trade with him beforehand. He predicts my flash, I get ignited, and I thought for sure that I would die here, but luckily, I built Ninja Tabby. So I managed to escape, barely. There's a lot of value in having the movement speed advantage, especially in losing matchups. It just lets you walk away. So here I'm a little bit afraid of Jarvan potentially being here, but since I see that Gameplank is also recalling, I know that Jarvan probably isn't in the immediate vicinity, because if Jarvan was nearby, what Gameplank would have done is he would have just kept pushing up, because they could just zone me off the turret or dive me. After that wave though, I do get a little bit scared, because even if Jarvan wasn't there at that moment under my turret, he could have started pathing after seeing that I stayed in lane. So I decided to recall here. Once again, my job is just not to feed, because it's just, all I have to do is survive and let my team carry me here, and just try my best to scale up. I also recalled here because I didn't see Jarvan up until this point, and if they had decided to make a play in the bot lane, I would have been ready to potentially teleport. I decided to take Krugs here as well, because I did see Jarvan in the top side of the map. Since Sylas is bot side, I do think it's possible that Jarvan might counter jungle, and by taking the Krugs away, he's going to get a lot less if he does decide to counter jungle my Sylas. And it's just like free farm for me too. So here I get a pretty good trade, but once again, I thought I saw Jarvan topside because he did clear that pink ward earlier. He shows bottom, so I'm a little bit less afraid now. But now I'm also thinking about teleporting down bottom if they decide to overcommit. I get really flustered here because there was a pretty decent teleport I could have gone for. But it's not the end of the world, because if I had gone for the teleport, Gameplank would definitely trade back the turret. And instead I gotta at least preserve it here and continue laning. So here I'm just farming normally, just playing it out. I think by this point I'm able to trade a little bit better against Gameplank, but I would have to land pretty much everything. I also notice that stuff is happening mid right here. So I back off and I look for the teleport, but I immediately recognize that it probably wasn't a play that I could have made it to. Like, that happened all so fast that I wouldn't have made that teleport quick enough. My Syndra gets a double kill, which is pretty awesome, but then Gameplank ults her and kills her too, which is pretty annoying. But I can't really complain because I'm getting hard carried honestly at this point. So here I'm just pushing the wave in. Finally breaking his barrels for once. I make a pretty big mistake here, but luckily my W pulls him away. My team picks up Dragon, and I start channeling my recall. But in the back of my head, I'm also thinking that I could try to cheese him here. If Gameplank decided to push up and waste a barrel or some abilities, I could try to all-in him from the rush. But I'm just waiting here for a little bit. Since he didn't show up or show his face in lane, I recognize that he probably recalled, so I decided to just fast push after a little bit. Also, just a little thing with Aatrox, if you're going to push a wave, I think it's best to use your passive auto attack on the cannon minion so that you can use the percentage health damage it does on it and clear the wave a little bit faster. Use your Q to clear the rest of the wave. Right here, some stuff is going on, so I'm just like making sure to check the minimap once in a while to see if there's a potential TP play. I know that Jarvan just cleared the Rift Herald, so I'm trying to see if I could have caught Jarvan and canceled the channel, but unfortunately he does it from pretty far away. And I know that he's topside, so I just need to play safe and just back off. My team is making a play on the other side of the map, and I just need to not feed once again. That's just a pretty weird interaction with the Rift Herald. I don't really know what happened. And right now I'm just trying to clear the wave out. I'm guessing that Gameplank likely recalled, and so I also look for TP, since I know Gameplank won't be there immediately. He does ult though. I back out here. This team fight's pretty messy. Flashing to try to get the last hit, taking the lantern. And right here I'm just thinking about kiting it out. I know Syndra's pretty nearby. I missed a lot of Qs in this fight, unfortunately. Oh yeah, this is some spaghetti. So here, I did miss my Q, but my E comes up. I'm just waiting for my Q to come back here. Fortunately, Zac does show up. I kind of overextended. I just end up dying. Overall though, not too bad. I managed to TP in, get into that team fight. And I'm thinking about where to go next once I respawn here. My spawn timer is pretty long. I think at this point I want to go bottom actually, because Baron Nashor is going to be up. It's almost 20 minutes, and I want to be able to push the wave in first so that I can group with my team and help pressure it, since I don't have my teleport anymore. However, I haven't spawned yet. I just kind of have to look at the map and figure out where I need to be. I can see that our bot lane will eventually push out because that wave will crash into our turret and inevitably push back out towards them. I see that there are things happening in the mid lane. Thresh dies, so I decide that if I show bottom here, it is possible that they try to start up Baron, since we would be 3v5 at the Baron if I show bottom. And so I just hover around. I'm not trying to fight yet, but since I see Gangplank top at this point, I know that's 4v4. I know Gangplank didn't run teleport. And so here I just go in. I just go for it because I know that Gangplank was topside. However, through all of this, I am kind of like thinking in my head about how many waves I've missed. I had missed that bottom wave by rotating mid after Thresh died, and Gangplank just pushing into the wave top. And this isn't just for the sake of like feeling bad. This is like to gauge power level. I know that Gangplank like got those 2 waves, so he's just pulling further and further ahead. At some point, it's gonna be really hard for me to even match him. That is if I have to play against him in the side lane, since Echo is the one that ran TP this game. So here, some stuff happens. We end up killing Gangplank, and we take Infernal Dragon here. Nothing too crazy, just landing my sweet spots to lower the cooldown of my passive to get more damage out. And here I'm going to recall, and again I need to talk about my item choice a little bit. So usually when I play Aatrox, I like to go in no specific order, Caulfield's Warhammer, Black Cleaver, and Kindle Gem immediately, so that I can hit 40% really fast. But what I felt like this game was that I felt like I would just get blown up really fast, and I'm our team's frontline for the most part. So I felt like it was more important to just have a fast Derek's gauge so I could tank a little bit harder for my team. Because in my head, how I see it is like this. CDR is great, it lets me get more rotations of spells off, but if I'm dead and I die too quickly, it doesn't really matter. And what's more important is surviving long enough to be able to get those rotations in. So I felt like it was more important to just finish Derek's and get that Kindle Gem for 40% later in the game. So here Gangplank is top, and I'm just pushing up bottom. I also see Echo. I'm not too afraid of dying yet. See that Senna just cleared the Krugs, and I see 3 on the map right now, and I feel like Senna's probably alone, so I'm free to play a little bit more aggressively. She does end up rooting me, but I'm not too scared. I also see that red buff is spawning very soon. I don't have teleport, so I'm not really looking at what my team's doing, because I don't think I'll make it in time. This is a pretty bad ultimate used by me. I should have used the ultimate after the root, not during the root. And I just go for the red buff. My team's pinging me off. I kind of get scared, so I run away. Team fight breaks out. I get blown up here, so since I like kind of died to Echo pretty fast, I'm thinking again about my item choice, and this kind of further solidifies in my head that I want a Sterix gauge faster so that I can just survive and do more damage and use my abilities more often. Here Baron Nashor is up, and we killed 4 of them, so my team starts up Baron. I'm trying my best to like think about what my best move is here. I know that Jarvan's alive, he wants to try and steal it, and Thresh is out there just warding. I think that my team can do this, and I'm trying to tell my team that I'm gonna just TP in and try to zone him, but they already go in. Luckily they managed to kill the Jarvan. But it's getting kind of like sketch to do this Baron at this point. I actually like, if you can see my pings, I'm trying to ping the Thresh to kill the pink ward so that we can just go for the Baron without them seeing us. And so that's my bad, because while that was happening, I was forgetting to use my abilities. Oops. And yeah, this is just kind of Fiesta. We do get the Baron though. I'm dead here. They're just going for a dive. They managed to pick up Syndra. Sometimes stuff like that happens, but at least we got the Baron, so that's still good for us. This is, if you've played solo queue with me or know who I am, this is one of the few times I actually type. I usually don't type at all, honestly. But I was a little bit frustrated at what happened, and so I'm trying to explain that if we end up in a similar situation to Thresh, that he should be the one that clears the pink ward. It's not really like that big of a deal because it's solo queue, and like situations that end up that tight are actually pretty rare because it's usually just really stompy games. But just in case, for my own like mental soundness, I decided to just type that in there. Not trying to flame. You don't want to flame in chat because it really doesn't do anything. That's why I tried my best to come off as non-aggressive in that message. I just want to win. I'm not trying to like be that guy that says I'm right, you're wrong. Try to be productive with everything you type. Know that dragon is coming up pretty soon, so after pushing out a little bit of top lane, I decided to grab it with my team because what's more important right now is securing that last dragon. Also, the top lane, I set up a slow push in the top lane too, so if this drags on for a long time, our minions will eventually push into the turret. I see that Misfortune is getting dove here, so I do my best to try to peel for her. So in these fights, like the thing that I'm thinking about most is that I was getting dumpstered this game, and my other laners were doing really well. So it's not my job to dive the enemy team because I'm not the carry. Even if I dive in, I'm not that fed, I'm not that strong. It'd be much more effective to just keep the people on my team that are alive, or sorry, the ones that are really strong alive so that they can carry me. It's just a lot easier to play around the people on your team that are stronger than you. In a case where I was the one that got really fed, then yeah, I'd be more trigger happy trying to dive the backline. But right now I'm more content just peeling from my team. Essentially I'm just frontlining, but I don't really get to do that much. It's mostly my teammates doing all the damage. So since I am dead here, once again I'm thinking about which lane to go into. I don't have teleport, so that's another thing on my mind. Yeah, so I'm just thinking like once again in this like context, like I'm constantly evaluating the ways to win fights, and here it's just to keep Misfortune and Syndra alive the best that I can. If the opportunities do arise, I will try like get a kill or dive in. But what's more important is keeping my teammates alive in this game. And here I also recognize that I'm just going to go top lane because of how close it is to me. If I ran bottom to group with my team, like so many things could happen. They could just recall by the time I get there, or like who knows. I have no certainty over what's going to happen over there. It looks like they're going to fight, but even if they were fighting, I wouldn't have made it in time even if I made a beeline for there. So I already decided to commit to my play up here in the top side, which is just to push in the wave first. Luckily though, because of how fed Misfortune is, this fight is going actually pretty decently. I just take a quick peek, but I know that I won't be able to actually go there. I don't have teleport, and I'm way too far away. So again, I'm just focused on clearing these top waves and pushing for this turret right now. It's not that crucial, but it's the only option I really had here. I could have gone mid, but that wouldn't have accomplished anything. Once again, running bottom, I wouldn't have made it in time. So my best play here was just go top and get something. So here I know that people are finally spawning, and now they're off the map. I place a deep board and decide to just counter jungle while I'm exiting. I might as well. There's nothing really better to do right now. I also recognize that Scuttle Crab just spawned, so I'm going to go for that as well. Place my pink ward down that I bought so I can open up a slot because I want Kindle Gem to finally get my 40% CDR. I finished my Steric, so I'm a little bit tankier now. I'm also going to build some magic resist because I didn't have any for Echo before this. Since I see Echo down in the bottom lane, I've like established in my mind that yeah, Gameplank is definitely just gonna stay with his team, and I'm probably not gonna be the one splitting versus him, more so than splitting versus Echo, because Echo has teleport, which means that if Baron is up and we're both in the bottom lane of the map, if Gameplank were to match me, I could just TP in and start like a 5v4 fight. That's why I'm gonna be matched by someone that has teleport like Echo. I'm pretty confident at this point I'm stronger than Echo, which is why I'm like trying to hard push this lane. I know that my team might be like looking for a fight here, but I don't want to teleport unless like it's 100% going to be a fight, because I could ferry in this super minion wave and go and just end the game. Gameplank ults here, so that's when I decide I need to teleport in, because this is definitely going to be a fight. So here I'm just playing it slow. I'm not jumping in. My teammates are the ones that deal a lot of damage, so I'm just sticking with them. There's no need to dive in this case. And here, since I was pushing that bot lane earlier, we have super minions in the bottom lane now, and we can just try to end the game. I think overall in this game, yeah, I definitely got carried, but I made it a lot easier for my team to carry me. Even though Jarvan kept coming top, I was doing my best to just avoid the jungle pressure. I played in a way that made it harder for him to gank me. And so we were able to end the game without them making some play on me in the top lane. I think this stuff is really important just because a lot of players like are so focused on like 1v9ing and carrying their games, but you don't get to do that every game. Some games, like this one that I played, you get camped and you're in a really hard matchup, or honestly sometimes you just get outplayed, and that's okay. You have to be able to also play what we call a low economy playstyle, where you don't get much help and you just gotta be on your own dealing with whatever the enemy team throws at you. And your job in these situations is what I did in this game. Just don't feed, do your best to support your teammates, and try to get the most that you can in spite of being like hard camped. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video useful. I would really appreciate if you guys left any feedback or comments down below. And yeah, hope you guys have the best of luck on Summoner's Rift, and I'll do my best to make more content for you guys.